Welcome back. I'm here with Football League editor Pascal Lemaire to talk about Saturday's Championship match between Burnley and Brentford. Pascal, Burnley still looking for their first win of the season, lost against Ipswich. You were there. What do you make of their performance?
I thought they did okay, to be honest. 2-0, it doesn't look that great in the end, but to be honest, in the first half, I thought they were the better team. They certainly created the better chance. They had two really good chances. They couldn't take either. Kitely hit the post, and then Vossen hit it too close to Bielkowski in the goal. But after half-time, Sean Dyche after the game said Ipswich deserved it. I didn't necessarily think they deserved it that much. He said, welcome to the Championship, Mick McCarthy's side. They don't play great football, but they just couldn't really, in the second half, break them down. Ipswich got their goal through Freddie Sears. The thing is, Ipswich took their chances. That was the one really good chance Ipswich had, the first one with Sears. He stuck it away. Then McGoldrick scores a header from a set-piece, and once it was 2-0, they didn't really offer much fight. They sort of knew the game was up. They had a late header through Michael Keane that Bielkowski made a brilliant save to keep out, but yeah, they just sort of missed their chances, and if they'd taken one of those in the first half, it could have been a very different story. But I think going to Ipswich is one of the toughest places to go. Ipswich often do have one of the best home records, so it wasn't the worst performance, but they are still looking for that first win, like you say. And at the weekend, they played Birmingham at home, and a 2-2 draw there. They fell behind, and they were often behind in that game. And but for a brilliant Matty Taylor free kick, they would have lost that game as well. So I just wonder if we talked about they've lost their key players. Three of their key players this summer: Ings, Trippier, and Shackle. They've all gone. But I still think there's a lot of quality there. But the one area of the pitch I do worry about is the centre of midfield. I don't know if they've got quite enough bite there. You sort of saw who the Ipswich players were in midfield. They had Skews and Douglas, two very sort of tough tackling midfielders in there. And you look at David Jones, Scott Arfield, two quite creative players, but back in the Championship, you wonder if either of them is going to have sort of enough bite really to sort of win you enough tackles and be dogged enough in there. I'm a bit worried about their centre midfield. I think that's if they are going to sign someone. They've been linked with Henry Lansbury, and maybe they might go for him. But he's another sort of creative player. I think they need someone a bit more dogged in there. But you look at their fixtures coming up. 3 of their next 4 games are at home, so hopefully you'd expect them to at least get that first win soon.
Looking for the first win. Brentford, they did get their first win of the season last time out. No midweek game for them this week though.
No, they got called off, postponed because of their awful pitch at Griffin Park. It's the start of the season, and they've already had to postpone a game so they can relay it. It's not good at all from them or their ground staff. But they were able to agree with Birmingham to call it off, so they haven't had a game this midweek. They've had more rest than Burnley, and at the weekend, they went into that match at Bristol. They'd had a pretty bad start to the season. They were 2-0 down at home to Ipswich. They pulled off a pretty amazing late fight back in injury time to get a point there, but then midweek they put out a pretty strong team against Oxford in the Cup and lost 4-0 at home to a League 2 team. That was disappointing, and they go to Bristol. They defended so poorly early on there. They went 1-0 down, they clawed it back, and then they fell 2-1 down. And then Bristol get their key man, Luke Freeman, sent off. Before that sending off, they were looking really poor defensively, giving up a lot of chances. And once Bristol had that man sent off, they then struggled after that. And Brentford were able to run out 4-2 winners. Andre Gray got on the score sheet again, but it just doesn't look like he's going to be a Brentford player come the end of the transfer window. Bristol City, the latest club who they played in that game, they've come in with a reported 8 million bid, and that's a lot of money for Brentford, and I think they would be right to accept it, to be honest, because they signed him for 500,000 from Luton last summer. He came straight up from the Conference to the Championship, had a really good debut season, 18 goals in all competitions, but I think if you can make that much money on a player who was playing in non-league 2 years ago, I think you have to do it, especially they have spent a lot of money this summer anyway, so certainly to get some money back would be a good thing, but they need to find the right formula soon, because you look at their next games coming up. They've got Burnley here away from home, and then the next 2 of their next 3 after that are also away from home at Leeds and Middlesbrough, and they're really tough games. So it's a tough run of fixtures coming up for Brentford, and I'm not completely convinced by them at the moment.
What's your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I'm going to back Burnley to get their first win here. I think Brentford, like I said, before that sending off against Bristol, they were looking poor again. So I think, and Burnley, they did well against Ipswich. They defended well in that game, and I think they should, being back at home, they should prove too much here. So I'm going to go 2-1 to them.
Sportsman going for a 2-1 home victory.